Hypothetically, if someone were to tie your hands behind your back and tell you that you had to prove your worth in a non-physical way, would you have something that you would be able to prove to them, or some way that you had worth in other ways than just your physical capabilities? Obviously, this is a very serious way of putting this question or posing this question, but I wanted to stress how much I wanted to get this point across of the fact that if you did not have the capability physically to show your worth, would you have something to be able to show or give emotion-wise, or some kind of purpose that you have to give them or somebody other than just your physical capabilities? Now, this can be a little confusing, I understand, but once you get down to actually reflecting on this, like I have been the past few weeks, I think it's a cool topic that coincidentally I can also bring a great example of an anime character into this video for you. Because I think that none other than the symbol of peace is an excellent example of what I'm trying to prove to you right here, or the point I'm trying to get across. Now you may be sitting there thinking, Olivia, why is a person taking me hostage wanting me to prove my emotional side to him, or something that I can give to him other than physical capabilities? Now, yes, that's a little bit of a silly way to go across it, but I was trying to stress a point there, and I was using that example to do it. Now, I want to just go back to a plain Jane view on this and say that, yes, there are capabilities and superpowers that we as humans possess that aren't always physical. And that's something that I feel like I really want to stress in this video by using the example of All Might. All Might's character in My Hero Academia proves to us that you don't always need a physical capability to be able to be a superhero. We can be one every day through the traits that we can show to people and the kindness that we show to people by making them smile or doing something for someone. Now, these are very basic, and I feel like there's a deeper layer to this that we possess, and each individual person has one that may be individually unique to them per se, and that's something that I want to touch upon later in this video. But right now, I want to recap the things we love about All Might that are in the topic of what I'm talking about today. Now, I think one of the clips that gave the most power to All Might's character was actually when he was talking to his master before she bestowed the power one for all to him. And I feel like a powerful thing that was said, that he just wanted to help people. And the way that he viewed the world in general, he was a good candidate, she thought, for the power because of that. Now, I feel like she was an amazing superhero, but she saw something in this boy that was different from the capabilities and the things that he could do for the world that she necessarily hadn't built for herself, or maybe didn't have. Now, I believe that her character necessarily didn't build this image for herself because she had other things from her past, as we later find out, that were kind of preventing her in a way of her mind was already occupied. But she saw a clean slate in Toshinori when she was looking at this man who just wanted to do nothing but make people smile by the good deeds he would do. Now, he was already going at it in an era where he just wanted to put smiles on people's faces and keep everybody smiling through the hard instances of the world and situations that this new supervillain / superhero era was kind of bringing to their world and earth, right? And I feel like that's something that he definitely committed to and took into the rest of his career. We can clearly see all the people that he impacted, even not only through the series, but in the movies. He was a beaming, shining ball of light for people, and not just because of his reflective golden hair that flowed in the wind, or his big, toothy smile that sparkled. He also kept that smile on even when he was going through the hardest times of his career and his life. He definitely was a shining example. Now, I will say that smile kind of faded in the background when we got to see a deeper look into his character. But I feel like, for the most part, this is something that he stuck true to when he told his master that he was going to do it. Now, although All Might has a great example of determination, that's not necessarily what we're talking about today. Like I said, we're going to be talking about the superhuman capabilities that this man held throughout the series without even having a power. This is a great example of how even if you don't have a superpower or physical ability that you can provide, you have knowledge within and you have traits about you naturally that you can use. Now, I feel like Toshinori knew that one of the traits about him naturally was that he was able to keep a smile on his face and give encouraging words to people going through tough times. The quirk that he got was just something that added to this. Now we clearly see him smiling through all of the things he's going through in the fights and everything, and he's always there with his hand in the air telling everybody, I am here. Wow, that was like some poetry right there. But yes, we definitely see him doing this throughout the series, and it's one of the things that translate even through the screens of the citizens in the series. One of the things I love about his character is that even the people that aren't there witnessing what he's doing in person get this sense like we get through anime or things that inspire us in TV, through the screen of watching the news or the laptop or like Izuku Midoriya would every night. So people weren't just inspired by him in the moment seeing this grand gesture happen, right? He was able to give words of encouragement that bled through the screen to the point where he became the symbol of peace. This is something very powerful that I feel like is a great example of what I'm trying to say here when I say human superpowers within. I feel like the energy itself that he brought to the people was something that compelled them so deeply within to do and follow his examples that was unmatched by any other. Now we see a lot of inspiring heroes in My Hero Academia. I feel like they're full of them. There are so many awesome ones that truly show magnificent traits in the way that they handle situations. However, All Might, I feel like, shined the brightest when it came to these because he had something special and his master knew that when she saw him. Now, I feel like this is something where, going in a little bit into my own life, I have been trying to uncover those superpowers for the past few years. Once I started going into my mental health journey, when I watched My Hero Academia, it became very apparent to me that there were a few things that he had that some other characters in the show did not have that made him shine bright. Like I said, special things that maybe if you wouldn't really dig deep into the character, you wouldn't really know why he had this compelling aura around him. But I feel like the smile that always stayed on his face was one of the many things that he brought to people to inspire them. His booming voice and energy was another example. He didn't just sit there and whisper to the crowds or say in a monotone voice, I am here. He was there with his fist in the air, telling people with the most booming voice ever that he was here. He wasn't exactly a present mic, but he still shouted it as loud as he could, and this is what I mean by energy. I feel like there are a few times that characters do this in anime that is very compelling. Actually, I take that back. There are a lot of times that characters do this in anime, and I can't go through this episode really without giving an honorable mention to the character that has set many people's hearts ablaze in Demon Slayer, Rengoku. He has to be mentioned in this episode. I really, really think that he is another strong example. But I picked All Might, the symbol of peace, because there's things about him that I know he definitely set people's hearts ablaze with. And Rengoku, I wanted to do a little bit of more of an episode where I talk about his wisdom and depth of knowledge. Now, going back to that, I feel like All Might definitely had wisdom and depth of knowledge, but if you actually look at most of the examples that he gives throughout the series, they're not exactly deep and in-depth like Rengoku. Some of them are actually just the fact that he's able to be there present and booming it out to the world that he is able to be a light for everyone, that he is able to make a change, and you can too. And I think this is a great example of how you don't necessarily need to do something physical for people to be inspired by you. Now, obviously, we don't have powers as regular human beings here in this multiverse we live in. But I feel like a lot of people through history have shown us how you can use these superhuman abilities to inspire people through even just your voice, through your energy you bring to the world, through kindness, through smiling, just like All Might did. I think one of the things that he related to Izuku Midoriya on, even though he did not have a quirk, and Izuku didn't really know, obviously, that he didn't have a quirk before he got One for All. I think one of the things that compelled Izuku to have such a strong relationship to All Might and such a fanboy about him was because he had that trait. I think that's kind of what people actually really admired All Might for in the end. It wasn't really his superhuman strength. Like I said, it was that connection he brought through the screen. Because obviously, there were a lot of people who had awesome superpowers in My Hero Academia, and they could have gone to heights just like All Might. But the thing that made All Might stand out in this crowd was that he was able to bring resilience and emotion to people. He stirred up something in people that made them feel like everything was going to be okay. And that can be a rare trait to have. But like I said, I feel like there's more when you go into the depths of separate people. I feel like we genuinely each have our own individual quirk, emotionally per se, that we might be able to bring to the world. You may have a depth of knowledge like Rengoku. You may be able to smile through the hard times like the symbol of peace. Or maybe your superhuman power is to do acts of kindness through people by even just telling them that they look good or giving someone a compliment, being kind to people, lending an ear when they need help, lending advice if they need help. You know, these are all ways that we can do things for people without having superhuman powers or being able to lift really heavy for me as a weightlifter. I feel like there are simple things that we can do every day just to connect with people and give people more of ourselves and our unique, authentic selves to the world that people can benefit from. I feel like people genuinely benefit from you being your unique and authentic self, and the world benefits from that. As we've seen through history, many people who just have been their authentic self have been some of the biggest figures in history. And that's something that I feel like he was proving with All Might's character. Now, when you have these capabilities, which I think everybody has their own unique one. Now, I feel like it can be hard to find your unique abilities. If you're one who doesn't necessarily have the social battery to be someone like All Might, that is fine. I feel like there is other ways and things that you can do to put this energy out into the world. Now, like I said in the beginning of the video, if your hands were tied behind your back and you had to prove to somebody that you had something other than physical capabilities to be worth something, now it sounds a bit harsh, but I'm just putting it in that example. What would you necessarily think that you could bring to the table? This is a question that I think is a really good one to ask yourself, just to be able to be reflective on what you're doing in the world that's making a difference through just your voice or the way you're showing up in the world, you know? And obviously, that doesn't mean that physical capabilities are bad. That is not what this video is about. I'm talking about the fact, though, you know, that you could say maybe the fact that you are able to give presents to your children every day. Be there and show up for them and actually be able to sit in the present moment with your friend when they're going through something. You know, those things when your friends say, oh, you're such a good listener, that's why I go to you every time I have a problem. Or somebody may tell you that you always make them feel better, even on the days when they aren't feeling good. These are all traits that I'm talking about, ones that you should really be patting yourself on the back for having and embracing. And you can't really embrace something unless you know it's there. So I guess this video is also bringing awareness to the fact that we all have something like that in us. And I think that's something that All Might made people realize too, like Izuku Midoriya, that we all have this light inside of us and it's just waiting for us to come find it. An ember, if you will say, maybe. Part 2 of Olivia being absolutely corny in this video, but we're just gonna move on from that. If a pun is out there and it's in my face, I'm gonna make it. And a joke like that, so obvious, so ready to be ravished in the video, Anyways, I feel like there is a lot to say about finding that spark inside yourself and embracing it. So the next time you kind of doubt yourself when paying somebody a compliment, or think twice when you're going to give someone a random smile on the street, maybe think about how All Might did that regardless of what people thought about him, and truly embrace that and go ahead and do it. I feel like the world needs more of this. I feel like the world needs more authenticity. And that's what I wanted to make this video about, because in my life, I truly feel like I try to bring more authenticity to the world by doing things like this, by making sure that my career, my hobbies, my physical capabilities aren't the only thing that I'm bringing to the world and to my loved ones and my relatives and everything like that. And the world will truly, truly benefit from you being your own symbol of peace, however that may be to you. I feel like this is a very important thing for us to do in our life mission as a person, to embrace authentically the awesome superpowers that we already have within us. So as you're out there slaying and smashing your goals to be the superhero you may want to be in the gym, in your career, or in your hobbies or something like that, also think about the different things within you that could bring light to the world and genuinely make you be an example, like the symbol of peace, All Might himself, and be able to give out to other people and shine your light brighter in advance. And with those wise words of wisdom said by me, your favorite YouTuber, I will say, if you liked this video, definitely hit the subscribe and hang out with me more often, because I will be bringing you more content. Anime, gym, and life is what this channel is all about, and the content within it. And we're building an awesome community where we give each other all this support and motivation from the animes we love and the lifestyle we're building for ourselves. Comment down below also what character really proves this to you. All Might is a really big one that I feel like I could have also gone with Rengoku or something like that, because a lot of characters do show this trait. But definitely comment which one actually gave you this kind of motivation and maybe bled through the screen like All Might did to the people in your life. And that is a wrap. I will see you guys next time.